Hello, good day to you, all of my students in Trep. Once again, I would like to personally welcome you to this course, and I hope that even as we have this new norm in education, we will enjoy learning together, though we might not be able to see each other face to face. Still, let's take this opportunity to thank God that we have this privilege of learning. Let's thank God for technology, that even with technology, we can still move on in our learning. And together with that, I would like to remind those of you who have their Google accounts already. If you still don't have your profile picture, may I request you to please put a profile picture so that at least even through your profile picture, I will be able to see your face. Okay? And for today, I would like to discuss to you the first PowerPoint presentation that I have sent to you in the Google Classroom already. And this is the PowerPoint presentation of Module 1. This is about the mind of the entrepreneur. And to begin with, we would like to see that being an entrepreneur is actually a mindset. It is a mindset. So, it means we have to see things as opportunities all the time. And if you're wondering, my course is engineering, my course is natural sciences, why am I taking up a subject like this? Because in reality, anybody can be an entrepreneur. So when we say that a person is an entrepreneur, he is a person that is engaged in business. And whether you like it or not, in any course that we can finish, we can always have our own business. That's why, at least if we have the basic idea of how to run a business, then this will be of our advantage. And Module 1, let's take a quick overview of Module 1. First, we have our learning outcomes. So you will find here that even in our learning outcomes, we would like to understand the significance of the core values of our university. And we would like to relate this in entrepreneur. And then second, we would like to understand the depth knowledge of entrepreneurship and analyze its relevance to your field of discipline. Again, we would like to relate it to your field of discipline. And three, we would like to integrate various stages in the entrepreneurial process. Nakakabulol, no? And the fourth one is to classify the different variations of in entrepreneurship. Okay. And here is our topic outline for Module 1. So first, we would like to understand what entrepreneurship is, and two, the entrepreneurial process, and three, the categories, of course. And if you're asking, why do we have to study entrepreneurship in college? First reason is it is a Republic Act. It is already a law. And one good thing about this is, again, the government saw that this basic course in entrepreneurship will be of great help to everybody. Again, as I have mentioned earlier, we can graduate in any course, and yet at the end, we can venture in business. That's why that is the same line of thinking of the author of Republic Act number 10769. And together with that, since it is already a law, it means that any course that you are in St. Louis University, this subject is a common subject. That's why we would also like to raise uh, Louisians that are entrepreneurs. Now, let's look at the evolution of entrepreneurship. This is derived from the word to undertake. And what do we undertake in entrepreneurship? One, we undertake the risk of engaging in business. Basically, that is what it means when we say we undertake. And then, together with entrepreneurship, there are some myths or misbeliefs in entrepreneurship. One is the first one: entrepreneurship are doers, not thinkers. And if you will read this statement clearly, if you are in business, you cannot just be a doer. You need to think. You need to plan. You need to plan ahead. You need to see the direction that you would like to take in your business, because at the end, you want to be a successful entrepreneur. You want your business to bloom. You want your business to be successful. Two, entrepreneurs are born, not made. That is not true. Sometimes you will hear the line that it runs in the blood or it runs in the family. Well, if you say business runs in the family, I would agree in the sense that, excuse me, business may be a great influence from our family members, but definitely entrepreneurs are trained, not just born. They are trained along the process. And this subject is the first step for you. Who knows, in the future, you will become some successful entrepreneurs. Myth number three: entrepreneurs are always inventors. Not always, in reality. Why? Because entrepreneurs can actually adapt to existing business already. They can adapt to what they find successful already. And what they can do is just add something new, or they can try to tweak it, or they can try to uh, be innovative to introduce something new to their product. Myth number four: entrepreneurs are academic and social misfits. When we say misfits, they don't fit in. Okay, what they are saying here is that entrepreneurs do not fit in the academic realm or in the social realm, which is not true. Because even in this course that you are having right now, it means that being an entrepreneur, you need to be part of an institution. Myth number five: entrepreneurs must fit the profile. No. Of course, if you are an entrepreneur in the future, you can be unique. You don't have to be the same as the other successful entrepreneurs. Your business can have a very, very unique aspect that other entrepreneurs may not have. Then myth number six: all entrepreneurs need is money. Not really. Not really. Well, many entrepreneurs would enter this field with the desire to earn. Any businessman that you will ask, that is always one of the reasons why they entered entrepreneurship. But of course, that's not the only reason. There are several reasons, and we will see later on as we look at the different types of entrepreneurs that money is not just the reason why they are in this field. Myth number seven: all entrepreneurs need is luck. First, I'm not a believer of luck. I am a believer of the sovereignty of God. There is no such thing as luck for me. And the truth is, there is really no such thing as luck. Because what we should believe in is in the sovereignty of God. And if you are called to be an entrepreneur, and if you are moving, if you are working in the center of the will of God, then you will be a successful entrepreneur. Why? Because if that will be the case, your goal will always be you do your business for the glory of God. Myth number eight: ignorance is bliss for entrepreneurs. So when we say bliss, it means perfect happiness. So, ignorance is perfect happiness for entrepreneurs? No, definitely no. That's a no-no. When you are in business, you need to know how your business should go around. Therefore, you cannot be ignorant about your business. Myth number 9, entrepreneurs seek success but experience high failure rates. No, no, no. You can try to research on that. Those who have entered entrepreneurship, they have a very high rate of success because, of course, many people will say that success is relative. It really depends on how you will define or how you will rate your success. Because if you are fulfilled with what you're doing, that in itself is already success. And myth number 10, entrepreneurs are extreme risk takers or gamblers. No, no. Definitely, entrepreneurs are not gamblers because if you will be engaging in business, definitely you have to plan. And part of your planning is looking at the risk factors of your business. And even in that, you will plan ahead so that you can avoid those things that may bring negative factors to your business. So those are the 10 myths of entrepreneur. And we now look at entrepreneurship, a mindset. So entrepreneurship is more than mere creation of business. It is seeking opportunities. It is taking risk beyond security. It is having the tenacity to push an idea to reality. Seeking opportunities. Let's look at our situation now. We are in the crisis situation of COVID-19, and uh, the truth is many businesses collapsed because of this crisis. But on the other hand, there are also some small businesses that succeeded during this time of crisis. One example is our online sellers. Our online sellers are in themselves entrepreneurs or businessmen. So, even in the midst of the crisis, they were able to see opportunities that they can gain or they can work or they can have business. Then, taking risk beyond security. Of course, in any business, you have to take risk. And then, uh, having the tenacity to push an idea through to reality. Okay? Of course, that's the reality of business. You have an idea, you would like to push it to reality. Next, entrepreneurship. We have individual's ability, the creativity of an individual, innovation, risk taking, taking opportunities, taking social or commercial activity. I think those words are self-explanatory. So we can now go to the the next slide. And for our next slide, we have the entrepreneurial schools of thought. The first is for the macro view. The macro view. Pag sinabi nating macro, we are looking at a broader scale, we are looking at a wider scale. And under the macro view of entrepreneurial schools of thought, we have three. We have the first one, environmental school of thought. The second is the financial capital school of thought and the displacement school of thought. So what is the first one? The environmental school of thought. The environmental school of thought focuses on the external factors that may affect the entrepreneur. And what are these external factors? We can have institutions, we can have values in the community, values in the government, we have the influence of society. Of course, when you are to undertake a business, you look at the influence of the society. Okay? Next, we have the financial capital school of thought. The financial or the capital school of thought focuses now on the capital seeking process. So, how do you find a way to establish your business by having a good start or a good capital to start with? So, your main focus is how to produce a startup capital. And of course, the next goal there is how you can make that capital to grow. Always bear that in mind. When you will become an entrepreneur, your desire is to make your capital grow. And the third, under macro view, is the displacement school of thought. Under this, someone can feel out of place or displaced from a group. And this should still motivate the entrepreneur. So, what do we mean when someone feels to be displaced from a group? As I was mentioning earlier, if you are engaged in a business, your business can be unique. Your business can be the only type of business in a society. Some may not accept your tenor or your style in business, but that school of thought should not discourage an entrepreneur. Instead, that school of thought should push the entrepreneur to succeed in his goal. And we have actually different displacement school of thoughts. We have the political, we have the cultural, and the economic. So, what are some examples of political? We have policies. Let's just go back to this COVID-19 crisis situation that we have. I was giving the example earlier that online sellers became a good business during this COVID-19 crisis. But you know what the government did? The government is planning to tax all online sellers. And it seems that many online sellers were disheartened because of this. And that is one example of a displacement school of thought. Some online sellers got discouraged because they might be displaced because of this new policy. But if you are a positive thinker, entrepreneur, then this should encourage you. This should encourage you to continue, to move on, to push with your goals in your business. And then we have cultural. We have cultural displacement school of thought. Of course, uh, this this type of thought is when the culture in, let's say, a society does not accept the type of business that you are engaged in. So, what should you do? You should try to uh, tweak or make an innovation in your business so that your business can somehow uh, match the demands, will match the practices, will match the traditions of such society. And then of course we have the economic economics economic displacement school of thought. And again, just looking at our situation during this COVID-19 crisis, many businesses were shut down because of our economy. And if you are again a good entrepreneur, you should not stop in the section where you have been displaced. Instead, you should think of new ways, or if you need to venture to a totally different, to a totally new business, then so be it. So that's the macro view of entrepreneurial schools of thought. The next one is the micro. So for the micro, we now look at the smaller. We now zoom in to a smaller section. And under this, under the micro, we have the entrepreneurial trait school of thought, we have the venture Opportunity School of Thought. We have the Strategic Formulation School of Thought. And how do we now see each of those? Entrepreneurial Trait School of Thought. Okay, so we now look at some identities, some traits that are common to successful entrepreneurs. Kumbaga, titingnan natin yung pattern. Itong entrepreneur na to naging successful. Ano ba ang meron sa kanya na pwede kong i-adapt? Itong entrepreneur na to naging successful. Itong mga entrepreneurs na to, they are having the same as the business that I'm doing. So, what made them successful in their fields? So, yun ang titingnan natin. So, pag nakita natin yun, we now try to apply it in our own business so that eventually, our desire will be to end up successful also. The next one is the Venture Opportunity School of Thought. So, for the venture, we now look at the sources of ideas and the sources of development of concepts. So, venture opportunity. We now look at some sources of ideas. So, we don't stop learning. We continue to research. We are not content sa ganitong level ng ating business. We continue to research, how can I improve my product? How can I improve my management so that this business would still increase its quality. So, parang isang estudyante rin, di ba? Dapat hindi tayo nakukontento na ganitong level na lang yung ating performance. We must continue to improve. We must continue to desire, to know more, to search for some other ways para matuto tayo. Kaya nga, sa gobyerno natin, masyadong sinusuporta ang research. Kasi nga, ang research will help us understand how we can implement new things with existing policies already. And the only goal of that is to improve the existing policies that we already have. Okay? And under this, we will always consider to have the right idea at the right time for the right market. Let me repeat that. So if we want to look for sources of ideas, we would always want to have the right idea at the right time for the right market. And the third one is the Strategic Formulation School of Thought. So for this now emphasizes on planning. This will now emphasize on leveraging of unique markets, unique people, unique products, unique resources. So, strategic formulation. Remember, yung word na ginamit niya ron, kung gusto mo magkaroon ng leverage in your business must always have something different. So, parang ngayon, ano yung isa sa pinaka-hit na negosyo? Milk tea. So, kung lahat nagmi-milk tea at ikaw gusto mong mag-venture sa milk tea, dapat isipin mo, I should introduce something new with this milk tea of mine so that when people will compare this milk tea that I'm selling, meron silang makikita, there is something different with this. And yun yung babalik-balikan nila. And that will make your business successful. So you would like to leverage on unique markets, unique people, unique product, and unique resources. So what is now entrepreneurship for me? So again, it's a mindset. It is about change and development. Hindi pwedeng nagpa-plateau ang isang business. There must always be change. There must always be development. There must always be an improvement. It is about construction and value creation. And indeed, entrepreneurship is life. Being entrepreneurial is just equal to saying we are using knowledge, skills, and competencies in a vast range of contexts and situations, enabling to realize our own aspirations. And we have the entrepreneurial process. In our entrepreneurial process, we have the first one, we have uh, self-assessment, then followed by opportunity, identification, and evaluation, three, product ideation and development, enterprise management, and then enterprise development. Okay, so if you will be an entrepreneur, you have to assess yourself first. Am I willing to take the risk? Am I willing to take the challenges in this business venture that I am trying to get into? Now, if this is the thinking that I have for myself that I am ready for such a venture, the next thing that you have to assess is, will I find opportunities in my community or in my location so that this business will prosper or this business will be successful? And then the third, if the place is a good place for me to start up a business, then what is now the product that I will be introducing as my business? And of course, now you have the idea of the product. How do I develop that? And then, the fourth and the fifth one, we have enterprise management and enterprise development. However, for GenTrep, we will only see steps 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to see steps 4 and 5, if you are not an Entrep major, then unfortunately, we will not be able to see that anymore. But those who are taking up entrepreneurship, definitely they will have a deeper subject to study those. Anyway, what's enterprise management? When you say enterprise, it's the idea that becomes a project or a business. So when we say enterprise management, we consider the processes involved, like we look at inventory, we look at accounting, we look at human resource, we look at customer relationship. So pag tiningnan natin yun, napakarami. At pag inisa-isa natin yun, napakalawak ang pag-aaral yan. Inventory pa lang, isang subject na pinag-aaralan talaga yan. Accounting is another one. Human resource. So hindi pwedeng isang sitting lang, marunong na ako maging part ng human resource. Hindi. Inaaral ng maigi yan. And then we have the customer relationship. And then the fourth one is the enterprise development. This is now the action made for the sustainability of the business. Okay? So that's the entire entrepreneurial process. And then we have the different types of entrepreneurship in this slide. So you have your serial entrepreneurship, female entrepreneurship, etc., etc. So pag sinabi nating serial, we are looking at series. So we are looking at having new ideas and continuous process in producing new ideas. So tuloy-tuloy. So pag yung business mo, pag sinabi mong serial entrepreneurship, kumbaga para siyang nagiging series. Hindi ka humihinto sa isang episode lang. Tuloy-tuloy yan. Tuloy-tuloy. Nag-i-improve, gumaganda, na-enhance, lalong na-enjoy ng buyers natin. And then, of course, ano pa ba yung medyo hindi familiar ang word dyan? Yung nascent. Nascent entrepreneurship, pag sinabi nating nascent, new ventures. So, new ventures. So, yung iba, clear naman, yung female entrepreneurship, etc. So, yung ibang klase ng entrepreneurship dyan, we will now be discussing it in the following slides. Okay. The nature of corporate entrepreneurship. So, pag sinabing corporate entrepreneurship, we have activities that receive organizational sanction and resource commitments for the purpose of innovative results. So, the very important phrase there is purpose of innovative results. Okay? So, you can just read the other statements given there. Then, pag sinabi natin Technopreneurship, from the word technology. It uses technology. So we integrate technology to be able to transform goods and services. And malawak ang technopreneurship. This ventures in high-tech areas gaya ng ICT, computer business, we have environment, energy, biotech, etc. And just a few weeks ago, I was with my batchmates. And itong batchmates ko to, itong isang grupong ito, halo-halo sila. Merong engineer, merong graduate ng RadTech, merong graduate ng commerce. Pero nagsama-sama sila sa isang business. Naging technopreneurship sila. So anong ginawa nila? Ang ginawa nilang business is nag-set up sila ng alam niyo yung mga waste from hospitals. So ang ginawa nila, bumili sila ng makina from India. So yung engineer, siya yung nag-aral kung paano papatakbuhin yung makina. So yung makina, ang gagawin is i-grind yung mga nakukuhang waste from the hospitals. Halimbawa, mga gloves, ngayon yung mga PPEs, yung mga vials, etc. etc. So papasok sa makina, dudurugin ng makina hanggang maging parang powdered form. And then, after that, yung makinang yon may how do you call that? May microwave. Yung microwave na yon, i-disinfect niya so that pag lumabas na yung final product, magiging ordinary waste na lang siya na pwede na siyang isama sa pag-dispose natin ng mga regular waste. Kasi pagdating sa hospital waste, yan yung mga biohazards. Hindi pwedeng basta-basta tinatapon yan. Kasi nga, pwedeng makahawa, pwedeng magkaroon ng virus pa yung mga yan na hindi mo pwedeng basta-basta ikalat. So that's just an example that I'm giving na nasa technopreneurship. Okay? And so, oops, sorry. Nahulog yung aking tripod. Next, we have 3 questions for a technopreneur. And sorry ayusin ko lang. Yan. Oops. Nawala na. Wala na yung slide. Yan. Balik tayo dyan. So we have 3 questions for a technopreneur. What problems in society, consumers do you want to solve with technology? O parang yung binabalikan kong example, di ba? Kagaya niyan, mga hospitals. Hindi sila pwede kung saan-saan lamang magtapon ng basura. So yun yung na-identify nilang problem. Uy, paano na lang itong mga basura na galing sa hospitals? Kagaya ngayong COVID crisis. We have so many hospital waste na hindi pwedeng kung saan-saan lang itapon. Yung mga PPEs, hindi naman dati gumagamit ng PPEs mga doctors natin, mga frontliners natin. Pero ngayon, ang dami na. So, na-identify nila yung problem na yun. Therefore, how will I introduce my technology para ma-solve yung problem na to? Next, what makes your invention product different from what is already in the market? And actually, kahit hindi ka technopreneur, this is always something that you have to ask. What is in my product na hindi mahanapan ng mga customers sa ibang products na kagaya nung sa akin? And then third, what is the improvement from the existing technology? And as I have said earlier, pagdating sa negosyo, hindi pwedeng stagnant yan. Hindi pwedeng nagpa-plateau. There must always be an enhancement. There must always be an improvement. That's why if you are an entrepreneur, this is something that you will always ask yourself. What is the improvement from the existing technology? And then, who is now an Echopreneur? An entrepreneur whose business efforts are not only driven by profit, but also by a concern for the environment. Okay? So ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina doon sa isang slide na hindi lahat ng entrepreneurs ang desire lang nila is pera, profit. Okay? Yung iba, ang concern nila is they also want to help in the environment. Then going back again to the example that I have given, yung mga kaibigan ko, yung mga batchmates ko from Boyside. 2 birds with 1 stone yun. They are already making profit because of that machine that they have introduced, and at the same time, nakakatulong pa sila sa environment. Then we have the social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship, a new form of entrepreneurship that applies to social problem solving, solving traditional, private sector, etc. Okay? So what's the process? Recognition of a perceived social opportunity, the translation of the social opportunity into enterprise concept, and then the identification and acquisition of resources required to execute the enterprise's goals. Clear naman yung statements na yan. And what you will now find here, yung mga references used dun sa first module and with this PowerPoint. So again, thank you for listening until our next discussion. I hope to share again my ideas about entrepreneurship. God bless everyone and keep safe, always stay safe, and always stay home.